Okay, quick review of this saddle. This saddle is, of course, the Brooks B17. I'm not sure how many miles this saddle has on it, but it's definitely over 10,000. If I had to guess, I would say it's between 11,500 and 11,700 miles. If you were to set a brand new Brooks next to this one, you'd probably notice there is dramatically different form in it. That's because this one is basically the negative image of my posterior. It's basically a custom formed saddle by now. Okay? Other than that, you would notice no difference whatsoever. Right? I'm trying to show a close-up of this. You may say to yourself when you look at this video, you know what? I don't know what he's trying to show. That's because there's nothing to show. The leather on this saddle is essentially the same as it was the day I put it on. Now, I proof-eyed it twice a year. Once on the new year and once sometime in July. You may think proof-eyed is a little pricey. Every time I proof-eyed this, I also proof-eyed an old baseball glove I have and an old knife scabbard I have, and I would say I've used less than a third of that proof-eyed. Okay, so it keeps your saddle supple and new, and I kind of think a tin of proof-eyed is almost a lifetime supply. Alright, so this is a premium saddle today. It's essentially, well, not essentially, I would say it is exactly the same type of, if you had purchased a Brooks B17 over 100 years ago, it would look just like this. And guess what? 100 years ago, it was a premium saddle. A lot has changed in bicycle technology since then, but not this. Not the fact that if you go out and ask people what is the top of the line in comfort saddles, okay, most of the time you're going to get the answer Brooks. Now, this saddle, the number one knock I hear from people about this saddle is it's so heavy. So I got news for you. I ride this saddle every day. I commute on this saddle. I wear normal underwear, normal shorts. In fact, I didn't even buy, I did my first metric century on this saddle in a pair of jammers. If you don't know what jammers are, they're swim trunks, right? Spandex kind of lycra swim trunks. I didn't even know people had padding in their bike shorts at the time. You can be perfectly comfortable on this saddle without padding, in my opinion. Maybe not if you're going to be training and riding, 80, 90, 100 miles a day over the course of a couple of weeks. You may need something extra, but bottom line, you can buy a carbon saddle, put it on your bike, and you can say, look, this is 300 some grams lighter than your Brooks. Okay? And then you take a 200 gram pad and you stuff it in your pants, and you take 50 grams of chamois cream and you smear it on your pad just so you can survive a 50-mile ride on your light carbon saddle. Net, you're probably still saving a few grams. But what do you get for that? You get less reliability, that's for sure. Have you ever heard of a carbon saddle breaking? You ever hear of the rails on a carbon saddle breaking? I have. You ever hear of a Brooks saddle breaking? No, never. They don't break. Right? Next time you go into the store and you price a Brooks saddle, put your hand on it and give it a squeeze, okay? And know that what you're feeling is a continuity of craftsmanship that goes back to before the turn of the 19th century. Okay? When they made things where quality counted. It's tough to find that today. but because of that continuity of craftsmanship, you get that level of quality and attention to detail today that existed hundreds of years ago. You won't find that in new saddles. In fact, I have a tri-bike. It's got a saddle on it. If you were to ask somebody, it's a premium saddle. If you were to go ask 10 bikers, okay, I'm not going to say the name of the company that makes a saddle. I'm not here to hurt their business. But if you were going to go ask 10 cyclists, name 3 top saddle makers in the industry, okay, they would all mention this saddle maker. That saddle has, well, I don't even know exactly, certainly less than 1,000 miles. I would say probably somewhere between 500 and 600 miles on it, and it's coming apart. Okay, the finish is peeling off. You can't even tell the name of the saddle maker. By the way, can you see that? What's the name of the saddle maker? This saddle has over 10,000 miles on it. Okay. But anyhow, the saddle on my tri-bike is basically good for, it's going to be good for 2-3 years at the most. And I bet if you got the saddle designers at all major manufacturers, except for Brooks, and over a pint you asked them what is the expected durability of your saddles, they would confide in you that it is a waste of margin to design a saddle to last for 10,000 miles. Why? Because even most dedicated cyclists, they're probably going to do 50 miles a week, a couple of rides a week, 50, 60 miles, maybe 30 weeks out of the year, right? You ride in the spring, you ride during the summer, a little bit during the fall, not during the winter, okay? After 3 years, you want a new bike. So we're talking less than, between 3,000 and 5,000 miles on a saddle, and then you're going to get a new bike anyhow. So why, if you design the saddle to last longer than that, you're wasting your own margin? Brooks isn't that way. Again, because of the continuity of craftsmanship, this goes back to before the turn of the century, essentially the same design that you had back then. It's tough to find that kind of quality, and you definitely are not going to find this kind of comfort in a saddle today. Once you get this thing broken in, it is a dream to ride on. I rode this thing 65 miles over gravel yesterday with a triathlon pad in my shorts and no chamois cream. A lot of things feel sore, but not my posterior. My posterior feels fine today. Okay, so if you hear, do a search on Google, 10,000 mile saddle review. Okay, first of all, I doubt you're going to find one. But second of all, if you do, right, and there's a picture of the saddle, it's going to have this on it. Not 2 minions, that would be an extreme coincidence. It's going to have the Brooks badge stamped on the back.